Okay, so now we have a new plateau. This time, I have the stream table propped up on a wood angle. So now it's going to be a slope. We're going to use the same source of water, so it's the same size as standard source. So let me set that up. And we're going to do the same thing, and we're going to kind of compare what the standard flow without a slope and the standard flow with a slope looks like as far as erosion goes. So here we can see the water is draining through. You can see how some of the clay is coming to the surface. That's moving because those are the smaller particles of our sediments. As you can see, the water is already moving. Whereas in our last video, the water kind of pulled off to the corner, didn't move down as much. But because of our incline, the gravity pull is greater since of the incline. So you can see how the water is already starting to make its way down towards the edge of the plateau. And see, and this is made up of the same thing, of clay and sand, and some rocks and pebbles are in here. Oh, you can see the water is moving actually more towards the edge as it moves through the plateau. And as it comes closer, we'll see what happens. So we can see the water. We have a large rock right there that finally got pushed over because it was in a force. So now we can see the clay on the edges. And if you notice, our delta is forming a lot faster. And if we were to compare this delta to the delta of our flat stream table, we would probably realize that this delta is probably a little bit longer. You can see that the sediments are still being pulled down here because of the force of the water flow. And up towards the top where this all started, it's very wide. The pebbles some of them have moved. The larger ones are making the water meander different ways, so you can see different streams that are flowing. And there's still quite a bit of a force that's pulling down. Look how large our delta has gotten. And because of this groove, unfortunately, it stopped the delta. But if this was flat across, the delta would probably continue to come out here. Just a limitation to this model that we are showing of how a canyon is formed. So we look closer, and you can see the water is still flowing. You can see the smaller sediments are flowing through around our large ones. Our large ones aren't budging. There's not enough force to move them. Same thing up here. You see how high up our sediments are starting to be pulled, and they're moving all the way down the river. So I'll pan out here so you can see how long our delta has gotten. You see, as the water slows, the sediments are no longer being pulled at the fast rate. Only the very, very small ones are. Alright, so now the next one we're going to look at is we're going to look at a different water source. We're going to start with the stream table flat again, and we're going to look at the flood water source.